Question 1. Who is primarily responsible for managing the product backlog, including its content, availability, and ordering? The developers. B. The Scrum Master. T. The product owner. The stakeholders. Answer: C. The product owner. The product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the Scrum team, and this includes the sole accountability for managing the product backlog. This responsibility involves clearly expressing product backlog items, ordering them to best achieve goals, and ensuring the product backlog is transparent, visible, and understood by all. While others may collaborate with the product owner on product backlog content, the ultimate decision-making and management rest with this role. Think of the product owner as the visionary and strategist for the product, guiding its direction through the product backlog. Question 2. What is the main purpose of the daily Scrum? A. To report progress to the product owner. B. To inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog as necessary. C. To discuss and resolve all impediments for the Scrum team. D. To review the completed work from the previous day. Answer: B. To inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog as necessary. The daily Scrum is a 15-minute event for the developers held daily during the sprint, primarily to inspect progress towards the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog. This self-managing team coordinates activities and plans work for the next 24 hours, focusing on how they will collaboratively achieve the sprint goal. It's a quick synchronization meeting, not a status report to management, ensuring everyone is aligned and making necessary adjustments to stay on track. Remember, the daily Scrum is for the developers to plan their work, not just to report what they did yesterday. Question 3. What is the recommended time box for a sprint retrospective? 8 hours for a 1-month sprint. B. 4 hours for a 2-week sprint. C. 3 hours for a 1-month sprint. D. 15 minutes for any sprint length. Answer: C. 3 hours for a 1-month sprint. The sprint retrospective is time-boxed to a maximum of 3 hours for a 1-month sprint, with shorter sprints typically having shorter retrospectives. This event is a crucial opportunity for the Scrum team to inspect itself and create a plan for improvements to be enacted during the next sprint. For example, if a team has a 2-week sprint, their retrospective might be time-boxed to 1.5 hours. It's important to respect the time box to ensure the event is focused and efficient, fostering continuous improvement without becoming a lengthy discussion. Question 4. What is a key characteristic of a self-managing Scrum team? They are managed by the Scrum Master. B. They choose how to accomplish their work. C. They only do tasks assigned by the product owner. D. They require external approval for all decisions. Answer: B. They choose how to accomplish their work. A self-managing Scrum team is characterized by its ability to choose how to accomplish its work, meaning they internally decide who does what, when, and how. They take responsibility for managing themselves to deliver the increment, without external direction on specific tasks or methods. While they collaborate with the product owner on what to build and the Scrum Master supports them, the how rests entirely with the developers. This autonomy fosters creativity, ownership, and more effective problem-solving within the team. Question 5. Which of the following is not an accountability of the Scrum Master? Ensuring that all Scrum events take place and are positive, productive, and kept within the time box. B. Directing the developers on how to convert product backlog items into increments. C. Helping the Scrum team understand the need for clear and concise product backlog items. D. Causing the removal of impediments to the Scrum team's progress. Answer: B. Directing the developers on how to convert product backlog items into increments. The Scrum Master serves the Scrum team by ensuring Scrum is understood and enacted, but they do not direct the developers on how to do their work. The developers are self-managing professionals who determine the best way to create the increment. The Scrum Master acts as a servant leader, coach, and facilitator, focusing on improving the team's practices and environment, not on dictating technical solutions or work methods. Remember, the Scrum Master enables the team, they don't micromanage them. Question 6. What does transparency mean in the context of Scrum's pillars? A. All Scrum team members must share their salaries. B. Significant aspects of the process must be visible to those responsible for the outcome. C. The Scrum Master must share all team problems with management. D. The product backlog must contain every possible feature a product could ever have. Answer: B. Significant aspects of the process must be visible to those responsible for the outcome. Transparency, as one of Scrum's 3 pillars, along with inspection and adaptation, means that the emergent process and the work being performed must be visible to those performing the work and those receiving the work. This visibility allows for timely inspection and adaptation, for example, making sure the done increment is visible and understood by all stakeholders. Without transparency, inspections are misleading and adaptations are flawed. A common example is keeping the product backlog and sprint backlog visible and up to date, so everyone understands the current state of work. Question 7. What is the primary purpose of the sprint review? A. To inspect the increment and adapt the product backlog if needed. B. To present the completed work to stakeholders for approval and sign-off. C. To discuss team performance and individual contributions. D. To finalize the sprint backlog for the next sprint. Answer: A. To inspect the increment and adapt the backlog if needed. The sprint review is a working session where the Scrum team and stakeholders collaborate about what was done in the sprint and what has changed in their environment. Based on this, attendees collaborate on what to do next, primarily inspecting the increment and adapting the product backlog as necessary to optimize future value. It's an informal event designed to foster collaboration and gather feedback, not a formal gate for approval. Think of it as a crucial moment to align everyone on the product's direction based on the latest working software. Question 8. Who is responsible for promoting and supporting Scrum as defined in the Scrum Guide? The product owner. B. The Scrum Master. C. The developers. D. The project manager. Answer: B. The Scrum Master. The Scrum Master is specifically accountable for establishing Scrum as defined in the Scrum Guide, which involves helping everyone understand Scrum theory, practices, rules, and values. They are the expert on Scrum within the organization and coach the team, product owner, and organization on how to effectively apply Scrum. This leadership is about promoting the framework's principles to maximize the value delivered by the Scrum team, ensuring the integrity of the Scrum framework is maintained. Question 9. What are the 3 artifacts of Scrum? Product backlog, sprint backlog, increment. B. Requirements document, design document, test plan. C. Product vision, sprint goal, release notes. D. Burn down chart, Kanban board, definition of done. Answer: A. Product backlog, sprint backlog, increment. The 3 artifacts in Scrum are the product backlog, the sprint backlog, and the increment, each representing work or value. These artifacts are designed to maximize transparency of key information, ensuring everyone has a shared understanding of the product, the work planned for the current sprint, and the working software developed. Each artifact has a commitment associated with it, product goal, sprint goal, and definition of done respectively, to enhance focus and transparency. Remembering these 3 core elements helps understand the flow of value creation in Scrum. Question 10. Which of the following best describes the Scrum Master's role during the sprint? A. To assign tasks to the developers based on the sprint backlog. B. To ensure the developers are continuously busy and productive. C. To remove impediments and ensure the developers can focus on the sprint goal. D. To update the product backlog daily based on stakeholder feedback. Answer: C. To remove impediments and ensure the developers can focus on the sprint goal. During the sprint, the Scrum Master serves the developers by removing impediments to their progress and supporting them in their self-management efforts. This involves facilitating various aspects of the process, coaching the team, and helping resolve blockers that prevent the developers from achieving the sprint goal. The Scrum Master's focus is on optimizing the flow of work and protecting the team from distractions, allowing them to concentrate on delivering the increment. Question 11. What is the purpose of the product goal? A. To describe the purpose of the product backlog. B. To define the ultimate long-term objective of the product. C. To set the sprint's objective for the developers. D. To measure the product owner's performance. Answer. B. To define the ultimate long-term objective of the product. The product goal describes a future state of the product which can serve as a target for the Scrum team to plan against, representing a long-term objective. It is the commitment for the product backlog, providing focus for the Scrum team as they work to achieve it. For example, a product goal might be become the leading online platform for sustainable fashion in Europe. This clear direction helps the team focus their efforts and make informed decisions about what to include in the product backlog. Question 12. When is the sprint goal created? A. Before the sprint planning event. B. During the sprint planning event. C. During the daily scrum. D. At the end of the sprint review. Answer B. During the sprint planning event. The sprint goal is crafted during the sprint planning event, serving as the single objective for the sprint. It provides a flexible guide for the developers to make decisions about the work they commit to and helps them understand why they are building the increment. For example, if a team decides to focus on improving user login performance, their sprint goal might be improve user login speed to under 2 seconds. This shared objective encourages collaboration and creativity within the sprint. Question 13. Who is accountable for creating a done increment each sprint? The product owner. B. The Scrum Master. C. The developers. D. The entire Scrum team. Answer. D. The entire Scrum team. While the developers are the ones who build the increment, the entire Scrum team is accountable for creating a valuable, useful increment every sprint. The definition of done, which is crucial for achieving this, is a formal description of the state of the increment when it meets the quality measures required for the product. This shared understanding ensures quality and a common baseline for what done truly means, reflecting the collective responsibility for the product's quality and readiness for release. Question 14. What happens if a sprint goal becomes obsolete during a sprint? A. The developers must continue working towards the obsolete goal. B. The product owner should cancel the sprint. C. The Scrum Master should declare the sprint a failure. D. The developers adjust the sprint backlog to accommodate the new reality. Answer. B. The product owner should cancel the sprint. If the sprint goal becomes obsolete due to significant changes in the external environment or a major shift in product direction, only the product owner has the authority to cancel the sprint. A cancelled sprint is a rare occurrence and indicates that the sprint goal has become irrelevant. While the developers continuously adapt the sprint backlog, a fundamentally obsolete sprint goal requires a more drastic intervention to prevent wasted effort on an irrelevant objective. Question 15. What is the primary way to ensure that Scrum artifacts are transparent? A. Using a physical whiteboard only. B. Conducting frequent formal meetings. C. Defining done and adhering to it. D. Relying on the Scrum Master to interpret the artifacts. Answer. C. Defining done and adhering to it. Defining done and consistently adhering to that definition is the primary way to ensure transparency of the increment, and by extension, all Scrum artifacts. When done is clearly understood and applied, everyone knows what quality means and what state the work is in. This clarity prevents misinterpretation and allows for accurate inspection and adaptation. Without a clear definition of done, everyone might have a different understanding of what finished means, leading to a lack of transparency and potential quality issues. Question 16. How often should the Scrum team update their sprint backlog? Once at the beginning of the sprint. B. Only when the product owner requests a change. C. As needed throughout the sprint to reflect new insights and progress. D. Daily only during the daily Scrum event. Answer. C. As needed throughout the sprint to reflect new insights and progress. The sprint backlog is a highly visible real-time picture of the work that the developers plan to accomplish during the sprint to achieve the sprint goal. It should be updated as new insights emerge and as work progresses throughout the sprint, reflecting the developer's increasing understanding of the work. This continuous update allows the developers to effectively manage their own work and adapt to unforeseen challenges, reflecting Scrum's emphasis on empiricism and self-management. Question 17. What does the term servant leader primarily imply for the Scrum Master? A. The Scrum Master serves the product owner by prioritizing the product backlog. B. The Scrum Master serves the organization by enforcing rules and policies. C. The Scrum Master serves the Scrum team and the wider organization by fostering a supportive environment and removing impediments. D. The Scrum Master serves the stakeholders by gathering all their requirements. Answer. C. The Scrum Master serves the Scrum team and the wider organization by fostering a supportive environment and removing impediments. As a servant leader, the Scrum Master focuses on the needs of the Scrum team and the organization, facilitating their work, removing impediments and coaching them to achieve their goals. This role is about enablement and support rather than command and control. For instance, a Scrum Master might help the developers resolve a technical blocker or coach the product owner on effective product backlog management. This approach empowers the team and promotes a collaborative, high-performing environment. Question 18. What is the role of management in Scrum? A. To direct the developers on their daily tasks. B. To ensure the Scrum team is following all company policies. C. To support the Scrum Master, product owner, and developers in their roles and remove organizational impediments. D. To evaluate individual performance of Scrum team members. Answer. C. To support the Scrum Master, product owner, and developers in their roles and remove organizational impediments. In Scrum, management's role shifts from traditional command and control to supporting the Scrum teams and fostering an environment conducive to agility. This involves removing organizational impediments that are beyond the Scrum team's control, such as bureaucratic processes or resource constraints. For example, management might help secure necessary tools or cross-train staff to support a self-managing team. Their focus is on enabling the teams, not micromanaging them. Question 19. What is the purpose of the definition of done? A. To list all the features to be included in the next product release. B. To provide a formal description of the state of the increment when it meets the quality measures required for the product. C. To outline the steps for testing each product backlog item. D. To define the tasks that each developer must complete in a sprint. Answer. B. To provide a formal description of the state of the increment when it meets the quality measures required for the product. The definition of done creates a shared understanding of what it means for work to be complete on the increment, ensuring quality and transparency. It is a formal checklist of quality criteria that must be met before an increment can be considered usable and potentially shippable. For example, done might include criteria like coded, tested, integrated, and documentation updated. This clarity ensures that everyone, including stakeholders, understands the quality and completeness of the product increments. Question 20. When should the Scrum team inspect their processes and make adaptations to improve effectiveness? Only during the sprint retrospective. B. Only if a major problem occurs. C. Continuously throughout the sprint. D. At the end of the project. Answer. C. Continuously throughout the sprint. While the sprint retrospective is a formal event for inspection and adaptation, the Scrum framework encourages continuous inspection and adaptation throughout the sprint. For example, during the daily Scrum, developers inspect their progress and adapt their plan for the next 24 hours. The product owner continuously refines the product backlog. This iterative approach allows the team to respond quickly to changes and improve efficiency as they learn. Always remember that empiricism in Scrum means learning by doing and adapting based on observed results. Question 21. Who is primarily responsible for explaining the product goal and product backlog items to the developers? The Scrum Master. B. The product owner. C. The project manager. D. The stakeholders. Answer. B. The product owner. The product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product. which includes ensuring the product backlog is transparent, visible, and understood by all. They are the authoritative source for the product goal and product backlog content, and therefore they are primarily responsible for explaining these to the developers. The product owner collaborates closely with the developers, ensuring they have a clear understanding of what needs to be built and why. Question 22. What is the main purpose of sprint planning? A. To determine how the team will self-organize for the next sprint. B. To select what can be delivered in the sprint and define how it will be delivered. C. To present the increment to stakeholders and gather feedback. D. To identify and remove impediments to the Scrum team's progress. Answer: B. To select what can be delivered in the sprint and define how it will be delivered. Sprint planning is an event where the Scrum team collaborates to plan the work for the upcoming sprint. This involves two key topics: selecting the product backlog items that will be worked on, what will be done, and then planning how the developers will accomplish that work to create a done increment, how it will be done. The sprint goal is also created during this event, providing focus for the sprint. It's the team's commitment to delivering value. Question 23. What happens to product backlog items that meet the definition of done at the sprint review? A. They are removed from the product backlog. B. They are presented to stakeholders and are ready for release. C. They are reviewed by the product owner for final approval. D. They are moved to the sprint backlog for the next sprint. Answer: B. They are presented to stakeholders and are ready for release. Product backlog items that meet the definition of done during the sprint become part of the increment, which is then presented at the sprint review. The increment is a concrete step toward the product goal and is in a usable state, meaning it is ready for release if the product owner decides so. The sprint review is the opportunity to inspect this new increment with stakeholders and collaboratively determine future adaptations to the product backlog. Question 24. A Scrum Master observes that the developers are not effectively collaborating during the sprint. What is the most appropriate action for the Scrum Master? A. Assign specific tasks to developers to ensure collaboration. B. Coach the developers on collaboration techniques and facilitate discussions. C. Report the lack of collaboration to management for disciplinary action. D. Ignore it as collaboration is the developer's sole responsibility. Answer: B. Coach the developers on collaboration techniques and facilitate discussions. The Scrum Master acts as a coach and facilitator for the Scrum team, fostering self-management and effectiveness. If collaboration is an issue, the Scrum Master should coach the developers on how to improve their interactions, perhaps by facilitating discussions on team dynamics or suggesting collaborative practices. This approach empowers the team to solve its own problems rather than imposing solutions or escalating issues. Question 25. Which Scrum value is primarily emphasized when the developers commit to achieving the sprint goal? Openness. B. Focus. C. Courage. D. Respect. Answer: B. Focus. When the developers commit to achieving the sprint goal, the Scrum value of focus is primarily emphasized. The sprint goal provides a clear, shared objective that helps the developers concentrate their efforts on the most important work, resisting distractions and side projects. This commitment to a singular goal for the sprint ensures that the team remains dedicated and aligned towards delivering valuable functionality.